And in the top right corner, 4 Alpha X, the Protoss player, Zoun. And in the bottom left, playing for the Shopify Rebellion, the Red Terran, it is Byun. Guys, unfortunately, I do not speak Korean, so I can't tell you what they're talking about there in all chat, but I'm sure it's just a friendly banter. These players are friendly with each other, so I'm expecting some good, like, fun memes, that kind of stuff. Alright, Jagannatha is the map. Pretty long map, but due to these fast zones in the middle of the map here, the rush distance isn't all that short, so yeah, going to see how these players make use of that. So far, nothing fishy. All buildings are in the main bases of the respective players. And yeah, just shaping up to be a standard, nice PvT. Byun approaches this matchup a bit differently than most Terrans do. He usually doesn't go for the sort of Hellion or Widowmine pressure drop kind of stuff. He just usually prefers to go up to 3 barracks, get his stim and combat shield fairly early on, and make something happen with a bit more bio than you would maybe usually expect in that stage of the game. First thing worth noting is that we did not see a Reaper. Instead, Byun opening up with a single Marine straight into reactor on that barracks, and let's see if there's any truth to my statement. Yeah, we see the second barracks, and soon to be followed by the third, which is yeah, Byun's preferred playstyle to this. On the other side, the cybernetics core has finished up, so we're just waiting for the tech choice of Zoun. On this map, it's not great for Blink because this latch is rather narrow, so I wouldn't expect the Stargate, but this probe and the pylon on the map makes me think that it's going to be some, yeah, gateway aggression, and we see that here with the cybernetics core being chrono boosting out that warp gate tag. Yeah, another gateway in the main base and the third gateway over here, so Zoun trying to amp up the aggression right away, and Zoun's obviously familiar with the types of openings that Byun favors. These players play each other all the time. This Adept did not get that much info, other than there's quite a few Marines. So this should tell him that this is indeed yeah, a heavier commitment to bio, and yeah, that's what it is here. So the 3 gateways are now finished up. Warp gate is done. So just taking out quite a few Marines here without even losing the Adept. That's some great news here for Zoun. The bunker does finish up, but with these first Warpins coming in here, this is going to hit hard, and it's going to hit quick. The 4 Stalkers now versus the excuse me, the 4 Marines, but obviously there is a bunker, so this it's probably yeah, looks like Zoun was waiting for another set of Warbins. So yeah, here, there we go. And with this becomes less of a I'm just going to right click your SCVs that are repairing the bunker. Zoun wants to go for the T. He wants to break this bunker, kill the Marines in it, and yeah, Byun, recognizing what's going on, is just immediately evacuating this low ground position here. And yeah, Zoun wants to go up the ramp even against the 3 barracks producing. Focuses down the Marauders, but I think Zoun can be pretty content with the damage that he's done here. He's forced Byun to lift off this orbital, which obviously reduces the number of SCVs that you can produce, because flying orbitals cannot produce SCVs. Yeah, and behind this, Zoun is probing up. He's 6 workers ahead. transitioning into that robo attack, and he's still got Byun contained over here. So this is it's not the worst thing in the world for Byun because yeah, now with the stim being finished, he will be able to break out of here. But this stim, there are no medivacs yet, and this stim has really not achieved anything other than the ability to claim the high ground again. Yeah, these adepts are just trading out against a couple of SCVs here. I think 3 adepts versus 2 SCVs there. Better trade for the Terran, but yeah, this army with that stim, it's going to be on lower hit points for quite a while because this starport, it's just how how this opening works out. This starport is very late, and yeah, right now this army is moving out unseen. I believe. I think this observer saw it leaving the base, but Zoun is still sitting on 2 bases, so with the shield battery here and this Terran army already being low, he should be fine. Yeah, especially with this Colossus popping out, and now Byun has to be careful to not bleed out a lot of his army here. Loses another Marauder, and Zoun is just giving chase, and yeah, forcing another stim, forcing this Bio to just run away. This Bio isn't even fighting; it just needed the stim to run away properly, and yeah, now the first medivacs are coming out, and this is quite a scary scenario for the Terran player. Yeah, John's just giving chase here. He doesn't even take a third base or anything yet. He just recognizes that maybe he has a little bit of an opening here, and yeah, just wants to go for it. Colossus drop into the main, while this army is just posturing over here. This is not going to deal tremendous damage, but it's forcing a lot of the army back. It's forcing some lost mining time, and as soon as extended thermal lens is ready here, I think this Colossus is going to join up with the main army and attempt to push in the front. And yeah, here we go in the front. Zoun going for it. There's a tank in the back, firing free onto a lot of that Protoss army. These Colossus, though, uncontested. More Warpins coming in. And that one tank, even though it's free firing for a long time, just doesn't have the effect that it needs to stop this Protoss push here. And with this, Zoun is taking the 1-0 lead in the series. Okay, Oxide is is a different map type compared to Juggernaut. It's not as long, but a bit more stretched out to the sides. Not quite as large. The worth noting is that there is a ramp leading up into that natural base, which has a lot more impact in, for example, PvP matchups where that fact alone will yeah, make it so that a wide array of builds is just played only on this map. But in this specific matchup, the only thing that's a bit different is that whoever wants to attack actually has to walk up the ramp, and then obviously if there's a bunker positioned here, it's going to get a lot of free damage before the Protoss units can even fire onto the Protoss, onto the Terran bunker. Yeah, but let's talk openings real quick. From Byun, we see the same thing, not going for the Reaper, but rather single Marine into Reactor. Zoun on the other side of the map, preemptively building his first couple of buildings here in this little Reaper wall to prevent a Reaper from hopping up those cliffs. Won't come into effect this time around because, yeah, Byun is not going for the Reaper. This time around, Zoun going more of a standard route, opening up with that Stargate. Byun on the other side, he's like, yeah, your cheese worked out last game, but but it's not a flaw in my build order or anything. This is still very solid, very standard way to open, so I'm going for it again. Obviously, this is a best of 5, and one map loss like this should not trigger you into switching up your comfort builds. And this is definitely just a comfort thing for Byun. Adapt, constantly shading in, trying to get all the info that it can. Byun is being a little bit cute here, hiding these additional marines. So all Joe knows is that there is a reactor on this barracks, but he doesn't actually see the amount of marines it is producing. On the other side of the map, first Oracle just popping out. Gonna have to see what that one can do, and then straight into Phoenix. Yeah, so Phoenix play out of Zoun. It's the way that this works out against the opening from Byun here is that you really need to keep track on the Terran army with the Phoenixes. If you lose the Terran army, you can just get stimped upon very easily. This Oracle quite successful, got 2 kills so far, no whole damage on it, so yeah, getting a tiny bit of damage, getting all the scouting that it wants, gets a 3rd kill over here, takes a little bit of damage now, but keeps it alive, and actually goes back into 2nd Oracle. So the one Phoenix had been cancelled. I completely missed that. Sorry about that. So Zoun, just recognizing what he's up against, knows that with this build, Byun likes to delay his turrets for quite a significant amount of time. So going up to 2 Oracles, and these 2 Oracles heading into the natural here will find a lot of SCV kills. Obviously, Oracles need 3 shots, not 2 to kill workers, but there's just absolutely no defenses, and SCVs falling left and right, up to 5 down. And yeah, Byun has his Terran forces on the other side of the map, but there's a shield battery, there's a force field. This is not going to find anything, and yeah, with that force field here separating off 2 of the Marines, this is just completely held from Zoun, and yeah, it's gone up to 3 Oracles. I would assume that by now, yeah, there's a turret going up, and there's a couple of Marines posturing over here. So at this point, it's really not expected for these Oracles to find any more damage, but 3 of them still offer you quite a bit of utility, as they can reveal the Terran army pretty much 24/7, and also do fancy stuff like the stasis wards. But for now, I guess they're just content with flying around looking for reinforcements, and yeah, Byun is just getting nothing done with this army here. Another stim forced by the Protoss. I guess he gets the observer here, but that's about it. These units will not be healed up until the medivacs are out. The Starport is only now finishing. Oracle's heading into the Terran natural base once more, and actually loses 1 Oracle in the process. Gets 4 more SCVs for it, so extending his worker lead is Zoun. All these Marines here ran into that stasis ward, but yeah, I don't think Zoun is going to try and capitalize on that. His army is sitting comfortably at home, and he just wants to get out those upgrades here, extended thermal lens and blink being researched. 3 Oracle's still active, so Zoun really not skipping a beat here. The very important info for the Protoss player here is the timing or the existence of a 3rd base. If there's no 3rd base anytime soon, it's pretty safe to say that this will be a big commitment from Byun. And then the Protoss knows that all he needs to do is hold. attempting the drop here, but John is on top of it. Repositions some units. Now it's just really about how well can the Protoss split their army. There's a Colossus on each side. Shield battery is available, so man, if Byun doesn't get any damage done here anytime soon, this is going to spiral out of control. This third base is rather late and it's built in the main base of the Terran player, so not even on location. Zoun is now 20 workers ahead. So the supplies are very even, and that can be deceiving because the army supply is way, way bigger here for Byun. Trying to get a position here onto this ledge now, and will probably take out the cybernetics core, but how much more can he realistically get here? He doesn't quite give up on this yet. Has a second tank joining this, tries to get in further, and even loads up here. Oh, that is a ballsy decision, as there are Colossus available, and this has the potential to just get completely sandwiched here. There are 2 Colossus in this, and this is not... Yeah, okay. He decides to go out again. This this position that he had gotten himself in here never really achieved anything because all the Protoss buildings are very far back in this main base, so yeah, sees that he can't achieve any significant damage and retreats before he gets completely surrounded. Now shifting his attention over to this third base. Tanks are set up and tanks do hurt, but upgrades are finishing up here. Charge just seconds away from finishing. I think Zoun wants to wait until charge finish. Super battery has been triggered here, and it doesn't look like there's currently a flank available or anything. So yeah, Zoun just really in a bit of a pickle here. Needs to hold, taking a lot of shots from these tanks, and doesn't quite want to straight up engage into this yet. Now he's going for it with these zealots, getting also closer to the tanks. Oracles now pitching in to try and deal some damage on those tanks, but this fight did not go well for Zoun. He's down to 1 Colossus. The flank comes in very late. 3 tanks are still holding strong, and 2 Colossus are now being made, but there it's going to be some time before they get out of those robos. And Byun has an opportunity here. I believe there's going to be another shield battery available in just a second, or was that pop? I'm not sure, but he's keeping up the aggression here, taking out the last Colossus here in the front, just microing his hard out. These 2 tanks anchoring this push of the Terran player, and the 2 Colossus from Zoun are now out, and maybe he can stabilize here. But Byun has definitely found the damage. He might just right-click this Nexus here. Not for the time being. This is very Marauder heavy, so even with those 2 Colossus, the army from Byun here has a bit of staying power, but the Nexus, it lives for the time being. Reinforcement coming across the map, and it looks like Zoun realizing that Colossi take a little bit too long to build, and this is very Marauder and tank heavy, so I like the addition of the Immortals here. But this position, it just gets stronger and stronger for Byun. Medivacs healing up the bruised bio army. How long can he stay here though? Yeah, Zoun is going to go for it one more time, blinking forward, takes out the first tank. 2 Immortals. They're doing a great job, even saving one of the... Wasn't it an Immortal or an Archon in that War Prism? But yeah, Zoun eventually cleans up this position. But now we see behind this, Byun has caught up in the economy. Even worker counts. Ghost Tech is on the way. But the game is not going to end within the immediate future. So that's good news. Very scrappy defense here out of Zoun. But he has gotten up to quite a few of those power units. Lots of Archons, 2 Colossus, but obviously the more ghosts there are, the weaker those Archons are gonna get. And right now these Archons make up for a lot of the Protoss force. 4th base attempt here in the top left corner for the Protoss, and now switching into the Disruptors. Byun, for the time being, is not upgrading any further. Staying on 1-1, because all his gas and minerals are going into the tech units, into the Ghosts, more Vikings, more tanks. Now he's going to try one more time. This Disruptor shot could be huge. Ooh, barely misses a lot of the Ghosts. Gets still a pretty good shot here. And now there's another Disruptor on the field that could connect. The Colossus staying alive for the time being, and with the super battery, they're being healed up. And this is a huge loss for Byun here. Zealot run by also killing up to 18 workers here. And now all the tanks are unsieged. Zoun can just jump on top of it, but just gets another connection here on the Disruptor shot. Zoun really fighting his way back into this game here. And he's crippled the economy of Byun. That command center isn't even building. He needs to put an SCV to work here. But yeah, Byun, he hasn't given up on this yet, but the ghost count isn't as high as it used to be, and now finding the opening here. No vision from this for Zoun, and these 4 medivacs heading into the main bases uncontested, and now crisis management is needed here for Zoun. Needs to split his army, pulls a lot of his stuff up to deal with a big drop in the main base, taking care of the forge, and now this 4th base with a lot of probes on it is going to go down. Zoun is desperately trying to keep it, and looks like Byun, not paying attention for a second, loses a lot of his ghosts, and this base in the top left corner will survive, only taken 7 probe kills as collateral damage. This game is really getting scrappy and dirty. Zoun now trying to get back into the economy game here, producing 4 probes at a time. And yeah, he keeps morphing on these Archons, so he's not afraid of the Ghosts, of the MPs going down, and just wants to brute force it. Maybe relying a little bit on Disruptor Shot then. Or once again, these tanks on siege. Disruptor Shot goes forward, but misses. Another drop here. Trying to find some damage. This 4th base, it would be huge for Zoun. He can deny it. And Disruptor Shots forcing the Terran army to split once again, and he's just right-clicking that orbital command. Another Disruptor Shot connecting with the bio. The Colossus standing strong for the time being. One of them should go down, the second one as well. But now the Protoss forces very bruised, very low HP, but more Zealots and Stalkers coming in, blinking aggressively onto those tanks. It's going to breach this position, and with that, the 4th base, more SCVs are going to go down here, and these Stalkers are even just looking for more damage onto the 3rd base, and Zoun brings it back after a bit of a disadvantage there in the mid game, and takes the lead 2-0. Okay, what I'm interested in now is to see how Byun reacts to this. In the 2 games that he has lost so far, he's gone for the exact same build, and he fell flat on his face in the first map, but I think in the second map, he had quite a bit of potential. He had played himself into a good position, into a sizable lead, I would even say, but yeah, maybe in these kinds of series, you're having a hard time trying to analyze and read what has really happened in the game. So yeah, I'm just interested to see if he has lost confidence with the build that he has chosen twice now and lost with twice, or if he's just going for it again, saying I'm confident in my skill, I'm confident in this build, it is solid, it isn't supposed to die to anything if I react correctly. And for the time being, it is once again the Marine first, so looking likely that Byun is taking the second option of I will make this work. You can call it stubborn, you can call it persistent, but yeah, that's. Oh, never mind, never mind. There's a difference. It is a factory. So yeah, no reactor on the barracks. Straight no reactor just now. So no marine production heading into the factory, and most likely we'll be seeing some Hellion play here. Wouldn't be surprised to see that factory swap on over onto the reactor, and yeah, go for something that Byun isn't. I don't want to say he isn't comfortable with it, but it's definitely not his preferred way of opening up in this matchup. Zoun, on the other hand, once again heading for that Stargate. Last time we saw that his original plan was the Phoenixes, and then he recognized like, hey, my opponent, he doesn't really have any proper defenses against the Oracles, so he went up to 3 Oracles and did pretty well with them. Now the Stalker here across the map is it saw the Hellion moving out, and yeah, gets some info on what units are available for the Terran player. Trades out a bit of its health for that one Marine. Hellion getting in here, denying some mining time actually, but not getting any kills. And yeah, this time around it will be the Phoenix play. Phoenix play is just very solid all around against these factory type openings that Terran players like to do a lot. But it doesn't look like Byun even wants to go for any harassment style build. He's just content getting more Marines out, producing a tank here out of that factory, and yeah. Oh, also Banshee though. So the interesting part in this here is going to be that Banshee. It doesn't look like he wants to research Cloak anytime soon, and the more conventional option would have been the Raven for either auto turret harass or disabling units with the interference matrix. But the Banshee makes me think that this isn't purely defensive. The Banshee makes me think that at some point Byun wants to move out and apply pressure onto the Protoss player. Phoenixes are now spreading out, looking for anything that the Terran player puts out on the map. And it looks like they're completely going to miss that Banshee here, though. So 4 Phoenixes just Delta spreading all across the map, but somehow this Banshee still sneaks past. And there is a single Stalker, but yeah, this is just unlucky. I don't know if Byun is that aware of Zoun's scouting patterns with the Phoenixes, but this Banshee getting in here is curious. Gets a couple of kills here after it forces the recall of the Phoenixes, so yeah. Gets 3 probes for this. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes did head in here, killing 5 SCVs. And now, oh, Zoun once again doesn't get the critical information here with the Phoenixes. He is active with them, so it's not about him using these Phoenixes poorly. It's just that Byun is finding ways to bypass them at every point here, and this is a very scary force here. Shield battery only, I guess it will finish up in time, and Zoun only just now knows about this. Tanks are sieging up there. There's a Widow Mine underneath, which could hit on those Phoenixes if they decide to come too close. Takes out that Observer here, so that Widow Mine very threatening. But with the Colossus being in the mix, Phoenixes lifting up the tanks, or loses 3 out of the 5 Phoenixes, but pushes the Terran player back. And now he gives chase, losing a couple more Marines here. Another 2 medevacs, and now with the Phoenix count being reduced, we see Zoun is going back into that Phoenix production, and once again, the Phoenixes are missing the critical information. Zoun is just a bit preoccupied given chase here, and this drop is going to find damage. It's going to take out that pylon, so that Colossus won't see the light of day anytime soon. And now, oh, Zoun is just, it's such a weird position here. Widow Mines hitting onto the Stalkers. This drop back at home for Zoun is dealing immense damage. And this is not an army that you want in a base trade scenario. It's very squishy. It's going to get dwindled down by those Terran units pulling a lot of SCVs into them. Yeah, the Colossus, it will stand strong for the time being, but eventually go down here, and I can't help but feel, yeah, this still hasn't been cleaned up. This is so much more damage for Byun. Zoun is now trying to recall to somehow stabilize. He does have his 3 bases, but this is big damage for Byun, and Zoun just decides to tap out here. And I don't think that was an early GG or anything. I think that was just... yeah, masterfully played by Byun, finding these little openings and taking that game, bringing us to a map number 4. Yeah, and for the first time, Byun switched up his playstyle on the last map and made it work. And I can't help but feel that there was a little bit of luck in there. Firstly, the Banshee avoiding 4 Phoenixes that are patrolling the map, and then secondly, the drop also finding its way into the Protoss base makes it very awkward. Usually, as the Protoss player, if your tools are in the correct position, you can deflect all of what Byun threw at him. More or less flawlessly, but yeah, with the units out of position, Byun made it happen, and let's see if he can bring us to an ace match here. That would be very exciting. We once again see the Marine opening. I'm not sure why he doesn't ever go Reaper. Like I get that sometimes it's map dependent, but yeah, I guess this map doesn't have a dedicated Reaper cliff outside of this here, and yeah, maybe it's just what Byun probably thinks that his builds are so tight that he's safe against pretty much anything that the Protoss can throw that is more or less standard. So usually safe against Stargate openings, Blink openings, that kind of stuff. And we see that Byun is once again going away from the build that he's played on the first 2 maps. Once again opening up with that factory. So sticking with what has been working for him. Only going for that single Hellion. Last time around we saw that single Hellion just head into here looking for some scouting. And yeah, with the way that this is set up, I'm expecting pretty much the same here. Stargate is proxied by Zoun, so yeah, this Oracle will arrive at the Terran base rather quickly. There is a Widow Mine though, and the Widow Mine is rallying into the mineral line. And if Joan doesn't pay attention, loses his Oracle, that's going to spell disaster for him. But for the time being, this Widow Mine not really taking care of its defensive duties just now. Now he's repositioning it into that mineral line, and the Oracle is heading in here. Let's see how Joan plays this out. Now he knows there's a Widow Miner that he can't really commit into that mineral line. Doesn't even get a single SCV kill. And in response, Byun just picks up here.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Joan actually finding some damage here with that Oracle that seemed like it was completely ineffective. But this proxy Stargate is now being taken out. That Phoenix is not going to pop out of that production building. A single Adept here, though, finding more damage than the Oracle did. And yeah, it looks like Joan is transitioning out of this. Obviously, you don't want to lose that tech building that early in the game, but it's not like the Oracle did nothing, right? The Oracle got 2 kills, and then with the distraction, the Adept got another 2 or 3 kills, I believe. And yeah, Joan, he wants to stay aggressive. He wants to keep this up. This is Blink, and then up to how many gates do we have? So we have 2 gates on the field, 3 more gates finishing up. So this had no robo, all out aggression from Joan here. Gateway down here for the faster warp-ins. And how good are Byun's defenses here? Does have a tank and a second tank on the way, but this is going to hit hard and quick. 3 more gateways finishing up. This Liberator, it could distract if it's find its way, but it looks like Joan has the idea that this is happening, and it takes care of the Liberator. Very, very well done. It's very annoying if this denies a mining time and forces another warp in at home when you are the one that is pretty much all-inning. I'm not sure about this Nexus here. This Nexus seems fake. Joan has not been producing any workers for a significant amount of time here. Now, that's a lot of Stalkers blinking forward into 2 tank fire, but he has the high ground vision, takes out both tanks swiftly, and now he's a bit surrounded here, but with that Oracle adding lots of DPS, now Blink micro available, and it's only Marines that do not have Stimpack yet against these Stalkers. Lots of damage on the Stalkers, and there's also it's a single Viking completely denying the mining here, but more Warpins coming through for the Protoss player. It looks like Byun is falling a little bit apart in the defense here. Mining has been resumed for the Protoss player. Joan just needs like 1 or 2 Warpins here off Stalkers to deal with that Viking, and at the front he is dealing more damage. The production for Byun is just not keeping up. These Stalkers are just focus firing all the army units coming out of these barracks here, and this natural of the Terran player is under heavy fire. The Viking has finally been cleaned up, and even if Joan just goes back into pro production now, he's dealt the damage. He's forced the lift off on the 2 base Terran. More Warpins coming in. These Zealots heading forwards, tanking the tank shots, no pun intended, and more SCVs are going down for the Terran player. Another round of Stalkers coming in. There's only 1 tank, so I'm wondering if Joan can just go ahead and blink on top of that. Obviously, that would be a very risky play, but he's in a dominating position here. Maybe looking to blink into the main base. I don't think there's anything that can provide him the high ground vision. But yeah, let's look at the state of the game. Where are we left after all of this? 50 workers for Joan, 37 for Byun. No third command center anywhere near for the Terran player. And yeah, John's just content with what he has achieved here. He's transitioning into charge slots and storm. I still don't think he has a robo here, so eventually he might want to add on a robo. Does he have a robo actually? Nope, he doesn't. But Byun is still in full crisis mode, trying to still break out of his natural here. So yeah, that's then gets a single stalker for its struggles, and man, it really doesn't look like Byun wants to take a third base here, and I'm really afraid that if he wants to move out with this to try and ult in Joan, Storm is finished, and there are Templars on the map already that are gathering Storm energy, so this is, yeah, Byun is banking it all on this push, more or less. And Storm is done. 3 Templars with the energy building up. Joan is also fully aware that this is coming. Has the Watchtower here. Sees the entire army. 2 shield batteries available. More High Templars warping in. Charge is also finished, so... Oh, this is so scary for the Terran player. He needs to win the game with this push. And there are plenty of tanks in this, so if he gets into a good position, maybe, just maybe, and it looks like Joan lets him. Tanks are now sieging up. Storm's coming down on the tanks, so not on the bio just yet, but more storms are available. Byun is trying to focus them down, but more Templars are living. The super battery keeping quite a lot of the units alive. And now with charge, the few zealots that are remaining do try and move forward. There's still 4 tanks. The flank of the single stalker they're denied, and it looks like this is a decent position, but army supply is equal. And now with a big flank, Archons dropping onto the tanks, taking them out. Only 1 tank remaining. The last tank falls, and with this, Joan cleans it up. And this was pretty much all in here for the Terran player. I don't know how he wants to close out this game now. Still no third command center. I guess he can just lift his main orbital command to a third base and try to stay in the game that way. But now 20 supply down, being heavily outmined. He's throwing down a Ghost Academy as if he had money to support that tech, but yeah, he's on 2 bases, and one of them is pretty much mined out now. How does Byun want to do this? 4th base going down for John, but let's be real here. John doesn't even need a 4th base. He will bleed out the Terran opponent just by holding onto the 3 bases that he has right now. And John just knows. He's very aware. This time, Byun not finding the openings to slip past the spying eyes of the Protoss player, and he's just gonna bank it all onto this one drop. And oh, John, he knows that Byun is around here somewhere. And oh, this army movement for John is pretty indecisive. The drop is going to add in here. Liberator not going to find a whole lot because there are stalkers in position. But this drop is what could bring Byun back into this game now. John is going to have to split his army here. Another small foes over here. But let's keep an eye on the medevacs. Now they decide to boost in. No defenses in position for John just yet. Recall being forced. What is going to come out of this recall? A whole lot of the army. And War Prism unloading the Templars. Storms going down onto the bio. And this has done some damage. It's gotten 7 probe kills, and it remains a threat in the top right corner here. And now this 4th base is under fire. There's a single High Templar moving forward and could get a big stormy. Nope, gets EMP'd before that. Nicely done here for Byun. He's really trying to make the best out of it, but he needs to win the game within the next couple of minutes here. Otherwise, this is going to be a Protoss victory. And Zoun taking on the majority of the prize pool here. Another storm drop. All the Templars go down, but the storms are huge. And Zoun bleeding out here a little bit, walking into those Liberators, really making it more thrilling than it needs to be. This drop here that was still alive from the previous attempt, but now all the medevac with units inside of it does live on 3 HP, and the 4th base, it's gone down. Oh, blink underneath, but that medevac was empty. And now, with the Liberators, once again, Byun trying to look for a position here. Plenty of Stalkers going to blink forward, taking out the Liberators, and now there's just very little left. Another drop here, still alive, but there is a super battery available. And with the medevacs being taken out, these bioforces are not long for this world. This has gone so close, and yeah, by now Byun has lifted his main orbital command center over to this 3rd base, so spiking up here in the income just a little bit. Zoun is down to 39 workers, so he is on 3 bases and he is reprobing, but he has taken significant damage here. But it looks like his economy was just too strong to begin with. Byun is now he is on 2 mining bases, but he's now in a position where he has to defend. And there are that High Templar didn't even see that on the screen. Now 3 more Templars just walking in, and Byun is busy running away rather than fighting, and that means Zoun takes the series 3-1, takes 1st place in the APT Cup Korea 92, takes home $250 and 10 juicy APT points. Congratulations to the Protoss player.